This is Dan York, and I'm here with Shapiro, who's the CEO of IfByPhone. So, welcome to the show, Irv.
Thank you, Dan.
So, tell people a bit about what is IfByPhone doing? What are you trying to solve?
We're trying to democratize voice. Specifically, what we're trying to do is we're trying to provide all of the advantages of advanced automated telephone applications to businesses of any size, and we're doing that by moving telephony into the cloud or into the network.
So, okay, that all sounds nice. So let's talk a little bit more. What do you mean when you say about moving telephony into the cloud?
So let me give you 3 examples.
Okay.
First example is very, very simple. Somebody goes to your website, they click on something, a telephone in your business rings, we whisper into your ear that there's somebody on your website, they're on this page, they were looking at this information, and ask you, would you like to take the call? If you say yes, we connect you to their real telephone.
Okay.
Example number 2. You're a marketing or advertising firm, small marketing or advertising firm. Nowadays, with a Mac or a PC, you can produce a television commercial for late night cable TV, which is very inexpensive, in a day.
Okay.
But you'd like to add a sophisticated telephone front end to the 800 number you're going to run.
All right.
And even more importantly, you're going to run 8 different commercials on 8 different stations, and you want to track them individually. You go to our website, you acquire a telephone number. You do some pointing and clicking, you create an interactive voice response experience that will screen out the noise, so you only transfer callers to your call center that have real value because your call center is expensive. This is all available in real time, and at the end of every call, we'll post the call duration and information back into Google Analytics, so you can look at your call traffic and your web traffic all at the same time.
Oh, that's a very cool mashup.
Okay, I'll give you a third example.
That's right, you said 3. Okay.
Okay, so number 3 is Batteries Plus. A client of ours, they have hundreds of battery stores all across America. Now they have a website, but many people, when they need a battery, they need that battery now.
I know the feeling.
Okay, it's Christmas time, new present for your child, no batteries. So Batteries Plus was getting a very high volume of calls to their individual stores, to their corporate headquarters. Where's the closest store? What are your hours of operation? So they went to IfByPhone and they acquired a toll-free number from us. And that toll-free number they then used, pointed and clicked to create an IVR on the front end to determine what you're looking for. If you're looking for a store, they then route it to our automated application that geocodes your telephone number, says this is where we think you're at. Are you really here? If you say no, it asks you for a zip code. It does the calculation to find the closest store and automatically transfers your call to that store. So 3 examples of automated applications that a large corporation would take for granted, but a small or mid-sized business, and Batteries Plus has hundreds of franchises, still couldn't afford to do in-house or with a traditional enterprise vendor.
Interesting. Now you mentioned point and click. So from a developer's perspective, you know, what does building an application on IfByPhone look like?
Okay. It falls into 3 variations. I'm a 3 guy.
Yeah, I noticed that.
Okay. So variation number 1 is you're a real end user. You come to the site, you select a toll-free number or a local DID, a local telephone number from a website, and you select the application building blocks you want, and by pointing and clicking, you can connect them together. So you can say, I want this toll-free number on Mondays through Fridays to route to this interactive voice response experience. I want it to ask these 2 questions, and based on the answers, I want it to route to my office. And on Saturdays and Sundays, I want it to route differently. Variation number 2 is you do something more complicated. You build a series of interactive voice response dialogues, and you connect them together by pointing and clicking on the website. Variation number 3 is you're a web developer, and you know how to build forms-based applications.
Okay.
Well, we make interactive voice response dialogues look like web forms.
Like HTML forms?
Like HTML forms. So basically, if you know how to process the responses that come back from a form, which come back in request variables, you know how to process the responses that come back from an IfByPhone IVR dialogue. So you go to the website, you create the dialogue, and actually what you often do is create multiple dialogue steps. In between each step, our dialogue controller will post the results to a web page you specify. Your web page thinks it came from a form. You look at your request variables, You do a response back to us as to give a little snippet of XML, but very simple. Tells us what form to run next or what action to take, transfer this call, send it to voicemail. We do the next step, we go back and forth, and your web developer who built your shopping cart is now a voice developer.
That's cool. That's very cool. Now, you know, in full disclosure, I know you are a Voxeo customer, so where does Voxeo's technology fit into your infrastructure?
Well, there are 3 pieces of magic in our infrastructure. I'm a really consistent guy, Dad.
All right.
There are 3 pieces of magic. Piece number 1 is we spent almost 2 years building a dynamic voice XML, CC XML code generator. So when you set up, you define an IVR dialogue or voicemail or virtual receptionist or find me, follow me or call recording, what we're doing is we're taking a form on the web that you're used to using and we're putting data into a database. When your call comes in real time, we take that data and we use it to generate what might be thousands of lines of CC XML, voice XML. Now, because we're generating it for a specific customer with specific requirements, the voice XML, CC XML can be very streamlined. Doesn't have to have a lot of JavaScript and a lot of conditional processing. We actually generate the right dialogue. That's magic sauce number 1. Magic sauce number 2 is when your call comes in, we look at what resources do we need for this call. If it's a very simple call, we leave it on a box running Asterisk and all proprietary software from us, which has no third-party license fees. If it requires a sophisticated IVR dialogue, we send that call in real time to magic sauce number 3, which is Voxeo.
Okay.
So we generate the voice XML, CC XML, we run the dialogue on Voxeo. Now, when we're in the call and we get to a point where we no longer need text-to-speech, ASR, some of the more sophisticated capabilities that Voxeo provides us, we in real time flip that call back to an Asterisk box, which is a lower cost platform to maintain. Because this allows us to maximize the use of the valuable Voxeo ports, resources, in the same way web service providers do it for web pages.
Sure.
They're constantly moving it around. So we move calls around in our infrastructure. Right now there are approximately 25 servers in our infrastructure. We move calls around dynamically based on the resource we need.
That's very cool. So if somebody wants to go and develop apps or work with your platform, where do they go?
They go to ifbyphone.com or they go to phonemashup.com. Phonemashup.com is a specific mini site that points you in the direction of developer resources, and it also allows you to sign up for a completely free account, 100 minutes of telephone use a month, where you can try out all the building blocks, all the capabilities, and build a mashup.
Cool. So I guess as a final note to wrap this up, what's next for IfByPhone?
What's next for IfByPhone is today we sell our applications direct through resellers and through OEMs. We're moving into a space where you'll see us selling our applications white labeled through the CLEC community. If you're a local CLEC with a few thousand, 10,000, 15,000 customers, you're trying to compete with an incumbent telephone company on price, that's becoming more difficult. So because we're 100% SIP VoIP based, we can peer with you and you can provide these same advanced application capabilities to your customers and use them on demand, in which case we become a server farm for you, providing capabilities.
Very cool. Well, thanks a lot, Irv, for your time. I've been speaking with Irv Shapiro, who is the CEO of IfByPhone. Thanks.
Okay, thank you.